Hello everybody, my name is Madman. I'm a competitive Splatoon coach and analyst, and today I'm going to be talking about Cooler and why it's been meta for over 2 years and is still seeing use among top players. I plan to make a lot of videos with a format similar to this, so please give me feedback in the comments. Also, I am looking for more songs to use as background music in future videos, and suggestions would be appreciated. More details are in the description below. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Cooler is really interesting when we break it down. Cooler gives the player buffs that by default last 17 seconds or until the user is splatted. The abilities buffed are Run Speed, Swim Speed, Ink Resistance, Intensify Action, Quick Super Jump, Special Saver, and Quick Respawn. Cooler gives 29 ability points for Swim Speed and Run Speed, while the rest of the abilities gain 59 ability points. Let's group these abilities into two categories, Mobility and Uptime. Mobility abilities are pretty self-explanatory. Run Speed and Swim Speed both give boosts to how fast a player moves in squid and human form. Ink Resistance is useful because it makes it harder for enemy ink to interrupt movement. Ink Resistance on its own is mostly just used as a utility sub, since having one sub is all most weapons will ever really need, but the Ink Resistance given from Cooler is still useful. Intensify Action is used to decrease weapon spread when jumping. This is useful on a few weapons, but on others it has zero effect. Shooters and blasters are the main weapons that take advantage of this effect. Intensify Action also does decrease the time it takes to charge a Squid Surge and makes Squid Roll slightly better. While Squid Surge is normally irrelevant, Cooler significantly reduces the time to surge, which makes it sometimes useful for climbing tall walls. The effect it has on Squid Rolls is very minimal. The other category of abilities that Cooler grants is Uptime abilities. These are the important ones. Quick Respawn is actually different from the version that Cooler gives. If you didn't know, with Quick Respawn, it will only activate if you have not splatted any players after your last death, and it also does not activate for your first death. Cooler's Quick Respawn, however, will not deactivate if the player has gotten a splat. The Quick Respawn you get from Cooler is unconditional, which makes it less of an insurance tool and more of a way to take more risky engagements. Special Saver is another common utility sub that Cooler grants, but unlike Ink Resistance, is actually very strong when maxed out. The amount of Special Saver that Cooler gives you makes you able to keep 100% of your special meter after death. This high reduces the punishment of death, because it takes away the special charge you lose upon death and gives you a way to retake any space you lost quickly. The final ability that Cooler gives you is Quick Super Jump. This allows you to escape bad situations very easily. If you're losing in a fight or are in a bad position, you can simply jump to spawn or your anchor and be fine. This basically skips death. Saving your Cooler effect can save seconds of your time, which is huge considering how much of a fast-paced game Splatoon there is. So now you know the effects that Cooler gives you. Seems pretty good, so obviously it's meta. Yeah, sure you know it's meta, but I want to ask yourself, why is it meta? A lot of low-level players will just say, oh, it reduces the risk of death, so if I run into the enemies and die, it'll be okay. While the idea that Cooler reduces the risk of death isn't wrong, the idea of how to use it isn't right. Let me get this out the way. Cooler is not an excuse to feed. You are not getting value from your special if you pop it with just the idea that I'll probably die, but I hope something will happen. Cooler does not 100% make your deaths fine, it just makes them slightly less negatively impactful. The best way to use Cooler is to think of it as a way of taking manageable risks that may slightly hurt you or severely hurt your opponents. Risk reward is the main thing you need to understand if you want to use Cooler. For example, let's say there's a 50% chance that I win a fight, and if I win, I get a big reward. But if I lose, I get a small slap on the wrist. That's Cooler. You want to have Cooler to be able to make plays that have increased risk behind them because it's manageable when there's less punishment. But something really important is you don't need to wait on Cooler before doing anything. I have seen multiple low-level players saying, don't push until we have Cooler. If you're not making some risky play, you don't need Cooler to move forward. To master using Cooler, think about 3 things when you fight. How likely am I to win this fight? what does my team lose if I lose this fight, and what does my team gain if I win the fight. That's what risk reward is when it comes to fights. This can be very hard to learn at first, but over time, the more you analyze fights, you'll have an easier time understanding it and can process situations quickly. Okay, but what cooler weapons do I use? There are two main candidates, pencil and heavy edit. Some people will say zap is another candidate, but you never pick zap to pick zap. It is always, I have a backlane that won't work with pencil or heavy edit, and my team wants cooler. Zap it is. Zap deserves its own video as to why the weapon is like this. I have a lot to say and will likely make a future video on it, but that's it simplified for now. So why are pencil and heavy edit the main two options? Both of them are used for pretty easy to understand reasons. They paint well and stay alive. The reason why this is important is because you want to have as much cooler uptime in one match as possible, and something that paints and doesn't die often will output cooler a lot. Well, why do you want cooler up for as long as possible? To put it simply, you don't need to wait to pop cooler typically, because you want to have the effect already before you move. Pencil and heavy edit are mainly picked to spam cooler, but the thing is that they can actually have a strong effect while farming cooler. Theoretically, apples can get the most cooler since it's 170 points per special with good paint, but if it's just trying to paint for cooler, then it's doing nothing else. Farming cooler means Dapples has to be passive, and that leads to a conflict in what the main weapon wants to do and what the kit wants. Lack of kit synergy is the main reason why other cooler weapons aren't picked, and this is also another reason why I dislike Zap. So that's why cooler is picked at top level, and what cooler weapons are commonly chosen. But I feel like low level fails to get full value out of it, and they're just picking it because it's meta special spam. I want people on low level to think more about why they're running cooler. There's 3 questions I want you to ask yourself if you're a low level player running cooler. Do you enjoy running cooler? Do you do well when running cooler? And do you think you can realistically reach higher top level? If you answered yes to any of those questions, run it. If not, then consider coolerless. Anyways, that's from me. If this video was good, please like it so more people could see. That would help me especially since this is a new channel. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.